What's up, guys? I thought it'd be fun to talk about the games that I'm looking forward to. This is not a general list, this is my specific preference and corresponds to my specific taste concerning games. So without further ado, let's launch into it. Obviously, I spend a lot of time on this channel talking about Baldur's Gate 3. Specifically, I attempt to weave in lore for people who aren't too familiar with Dungeons & Dragons, and more specifically the Forgotten Realms setting, so people get a better sense of the world that they are playing in. But obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 is really high up on my list because I like the game a lot, or at least early access from what I've gathered so far, and it is shaping up to be a pretty good game, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Not much to say about that. Baldur's Gate 3 had pretty high expectations, goes without saying. The next game on my list is a game that I'm arguably looking forward to even more than Baldur's Gate 3, and that is Avowed. Why am I looking forward to Avowed? Well, I have made videos on my channel about the world of Aora, the world in which Pillars of Eternity takes place, and I have to say it's one of my favorite worlds ever. I just love the setting, I love the factions, I like how the gods interact with the world, and thus far, despite lacking wild success, I really enjoyed what Obsidian has done with it. And there is an open world RPG coming out called Avowed. We don't know when. I suspect possibly in 2024 or 2025, we'll see. And I am looking forward to this game more than any other game on planet Earth right now. Part of the reason for this, I have to say, is the simple fact that isometric RPGs typically are not very popular, although I love them. And relatively speaking, Obsidian didn't do really well with Pillars of Eternity 1, and certainly not 2. And once Microsoft purchased Obsidian, they got access to tons and tons of money to create something really special. And I have very, very high hopes for Avowed. I can't think of any other game that I'm looking forward to more, even more so than Baldur's Gate 3 potentially. Avowed just touches upon something in the back of my mind, and I really, really am looking forward to this game. And once that game comes out, expect a ton of content coming from me, be it lore, be it builds, be it anything. Definitely going to be talking a lot about Avowed. Another game that kind of goes without saying that a lot of people are looking forward to is Elder Scrolls 6. Because I've been playing Elder Scrolls in some capacity since Daggerfall. I'm old, and we've been waiting for Elder Scrolls 6 for a very, very long time. I suspect it won't be coming out until 2026 or even 2027, but nonetheless, I'm very much looking forward to this game, and I hope it delivers on all the things that we typically expect to be in a Bethesda Elder Scrolls game. I really lament the fact that they've been taking so long with this game, but there you have it. So obviously, Elder Scrolls 6. Looking forward. Another game that I've talked about on several occasions on this channel is Age Dreadwolf. I am a veteran Dragon Age player. I played all of them multiple times, and although it's with much trepidation and a bit of hesitancy, I am looking forward to Age Dreadwolf. I want to see what becomes of Solus. I want to see what becomes of the Dragon Age saga in its next iteration. And I'm intensely curious in part because I really think this particular game, this particular iteration of Dragon Age, is going to be the make it or break it deal going forward. If it flops, the writing will be on the wall, and BioWare in this case will really, truly no longer have a leg to stand upon. So there's a bit of tension there, but nonetheless, I am looking forward to this Age Dreadwolf. Let's hope they deliver. I have severe doubts, deep skepticism, but nonetheless, I am looking forward to it for the reasons I've just mentioned. A game that has flown under the radar, in part because it's now a sort of undercover project, is Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2. And if you've never played Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines, I strongly urge you to pick it up. It is a fantastic game, one of the great RPGs of all time. The graphics are obviously quite dated, but if you can get past that, it is a great game. Don't want to spoil too much, but it has all the right elements. And when a few years ago the quote-unquote sequel was announced, I was ecstatic. However, Paradox, which is the publisher of the game, decided to fire the developers that they actually had hired for it originally and restart the project in an undercover manner i.e. we don't know which studio is working on it now. Who knows if it's ever coming out? It will probably eventually, and that leaves things quite up in the air, to be perfectly frank. But hopefully it will come out eventually, and hopefully it will do justice to the legacy of Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines, because it is really that amazing in an RPG. If you've never played it, check it out. Definitely looking forward to this one, although again with some hesitancy and some trepidation, because rarely are these expectations met. Now here's an odd one I'm looking forward to. It's called Weird Song. Weird Song is a game that has not yet officially started its development as far as I'm aware, but it is a game being produced and made by a combination of forces, former Bethesda employees, former Obsidian employees, and from what I've gathered of the game, the little bit I've gathered, it sounds absolutely fascinating. A dark, open-world fantasy game set in medieval Portugal. Now, for the record, I am very interested in history, in particular medieval history, and the idea of an alternative timeline, i.e. universe set in medieval Portugal, I find absolutely fascinating, and I'm pretty stoked about the idea. And the idea of a dark fantasy with classic RPG elements nonetheless sounds even more interesting to me. So, and the cherry on top is the title itself, Weird Song. Weird is an old English term that refers to fate, and I like how they've woven that into the title, the Song of Fate, as it were, the Weird Song. So, looking forward to that, even though I don't know anything about it. The title and the atmosphere and the description they've offered thus far sound very promising, so I am looking forward to this. Okay, two weird, no pun intended, not referring to the weird in the sense of fate, but weird as in strange, two weird honorable mentions that probably will never come to pass, but I feel obligated nonetheless to talk about them, and these are the isometric RPGs, or IPs, of Pillars of Eternity and Tyranny, respectively. With regards to Pillars of Eternity, I have a sliver, a smidgen of hope, that the potential success of Avowed might actually make way for the possibility of Pillars of Eternity continuing in its isometric form, which is to say either a third game or something that exists contiguously to Avowed as an addition, as part of that world of Aora. It's possible, however remotely, that Avowed will be very successful, will draw on many people, and that will make enough room for the people who are intensely interested in the isometric game and in Pillars of Eternity, people who are veterans of that world, like myself, that they too will then get access to a new isometric Pillars of Eternity game, which I would be absolutely thrilled about. I'm speculating here, I'm hoping, but there you have it. And then we have Tyranny. Tyranny is a little bit more complicated because I don't think we're ever going to see a continuation of this IP, in large measure because Paradox, which normally makes and publishes RTS games, real-time strategy games like Crusader Kings, Europa Universalis, etc., they published that game and Obsidian made it. And the game was an excellent game, although not entirely finished. There were some rough edges and it needed more polish and it needed more expansiveness, and that was lacking. So my secret hope, and this is a very, very, very distant hope, as in I don't think this is actually going to happen, is that someone, ideally Microsoft, buys the rights of the IP of Tyranny from Paradox and then puts it in their portfolio, and then allows Obsidian to make an amazing Tyranny world-setting game, whether it's isometric or not, that will entail all the elements that were really cool in that game and add tons of new elements and allow it to be a truly thriving, successful world and IP. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's my secret, unlikely hope, so there you have it. And dear viewers, I encourage you in the comment section to let me know what games you're looking forward to. They don't necessarily have to be RPGs. I am an RPG specialist channel, and that is the genre that I primarily partake of, but please let me know about the games you're looking forward to. Very curious to hear about it. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Please hit the like, share, comment, subscribe, as it really helps out the channel, and I'll check you out next time. Take care.